On this episode, this special, batastic episode of Walk the Plank, I'm taking you behind the scenes of the Bat Cave. Why? Because, well, you're just going to have to stick around and find out. And of course, who else would I be here with than Erik, the man himself, Sprowls? And we'll see what kind of trouble we get into tonight.
I never would have guessed that we'd be doing this from the inside the actual Bat Cave. But that's the fun about doing a pop culture sci-fi show like the one we do, that you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
That's the glory about it. And so it's kind of neat to be doing a monster movie, pirate show, pop culture thing, and then visiting the Bat. If you want to know why, you got to stay tuned.
So stick around. Welcome to Walk the Plank, the Dead and Buried Treasures pre-show. I'm your host, Rich Cange, and still over here to my, I guess my left, your right. The series.
Wait, am I looking at you now? Wait, this way?
Yeah, I think so. You look that way.
It's like the Brady Bunch, you know. It's like
Yeah, I know.
like...
Yeah, we need like 4 more squares or something. We'll be good.
One time we had them
Sprowls.
Gertie, you know, me, her. Oh my.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We're gonna have to try that one day. So you're probably wondering where I'm standing. Why am I in a bat cave? This was our first meeting over this. This was how we got started together. Because you, when we started talking, you were like, hey, you're the guy with the bat cave? And I'm like, yeah. And you said, hey, I want to shoot that. I want to incorporate that in a show. And it was like, how do you do that? Because you host a horror show, and this is more of a comic book kind of thing. So it was actually brilliant how you incorporated the bat cave into this episode. And that would also bring up the movie, why you chose this movie.
Right. Well, thank you for calling it brilliant. I appreciate that very much. The one thing about this show that I wanted to do that was unlike a lot of horror host shows was I wanted to have a mythology to it, where it was connected and have something going on, almost like a fantasy show, so we could make it to the level of pop culture that I knew it could achieve. Mm-hmm. And so when we called it the Island of Dead and Buried Treasures, is where all these, it makes so much sense. Dead and Buried Treasures makes sense because they're all public domain movies and they're all forgotten about and all horrible. But we wanted to make something about the island really creepy and fun. And so we learned, now that we've had a couple of mythology episodes, not the last episode, but the 2 before that, when we did I Bury the Living and Chopping Mall. We had a couple of mythology episodes to reveal some stuff about the island that just bits and pieces, almost like the X-Files, when they reveal little bits of the conspiracy of the show, but then they have some standalones in between. So we learned tonight that the island has some special powers, to say the least. And the Bat Cave comes into play pretty handily. Of course, it's not the real Bat Cave. It's not supposed to be the real Bat Cave, but we learned that the island has the power to make scenes and places from the movies. Right. Props from the movies. And the fact that you and I bumped into each other at at a mutual friend's birthday party, and it's funny because I remember just like yesterday, I said, "You have a bat cave?" And you're like, "Yeah, I have a bat cave in my basement." And I remember thinking, "Well, I found some guy online that had a bat cave, and I thought that was cool." And you're like, "That was me." I'll never forget that. I was like, "Oh my God, you're the guy!" And that's how we met, you know. So we immediately wrote it into the show, and then we have a special guest tonight on the show itself, playing Batman, but we won't say who.
What was his name again? The name on the manifest.
Wayne.
It was Ben Affleck.
Yeah. His brother's cousin's next door neighbor, to be exact.
Right. What was the line I kept making fun? Not making fun, but I was like teasing Batman about "Answer to me." Is that the big line he said? What's the line he says in the rain with?
Swear to me.
I can't remember his. Yeah, swear to me.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a pretty good looking Batman tonight that we have. I mean, he looked pretty close to Ben, but I'm wondering if it's mostly maybe the.
Probably. But
I see Batman. Oh, I gotta be Batman on Denbury Treasures, lifting weights and stuff. You know, getting into shape. Cue the Rocky theme. Dun 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 dun. You know, but
that's the suit right
the
there.
Batcave has a lot of. That's right. The Batcave have a lot of special properties about it, and it's nice to have that kind of a melodrama as a backdrop to the show we do. So it's just one of the places you can venture.
Yeah, definitely. So that brings us to the movie tonight. So you needed to find something because you like to incorporate the movie or the show to the movie, you know, vice versa. So something to do with what you're showing tonight. And it's like, where do you find a movie involving a bat or Batman? Well, you can't. But you chose the 1959 classic Vincent Price, The Bat.
You know, one day I'd like to see if the old black and white 1940s Batman serial is public domain.
Oh, yeah.
There's another horror host in another part of the country. He calls himself Dr. Serial. And he hosts Dick Tracy serials or Flash Gordon serials that were like, I don't know, 15 episodes or something. I'd like to see if the old Batman one. It's probably not, but I would love to host that someday. It would have to go. It would have to encompass an entire year if we did it. You know, one per, maybe two per show. So right. I had to do something that was related to Batman in some way, and there's just nothing out there. I mean, a lot of these public domain films. There's some public domain movies that are good, but then there are some that horror hosts do that are just garbage. You know, one of the worst ones I ever saw was The She Beast with Barbara Steele.
Oh yeah.
Horrible film. So was The Creature from Beneath the Sea, or Haunted Creature from the Sea, or something like that.
That one I didn't see.
Oh, it was just a guy in a suit waving his arms. It's all rubber, and it's like, ugh. But some of the ones we do are gems. I wish I could say tonight's was. Probably the best thing about tonight's is it has Vincent Price in it, the man with the best laugh in the business.
Yes.
And I say that because of the Michael Jackson Thriller video laugh he does. But that's probably the best thing about tonight's movie. Unfortunately, it's a lot like Drew Barrymore in the 1996 movie Scream. He's in it for a while.
I know.
You know, and then they kill him off, and you're thinking, oh, maybe he'll come back at the end. And I'm not going to say what happens with that, but he's probably the best thing about the movie. It's just it's really weird. It's a movie about, well, we have a trailer to explain what it's about. Why don't we take a look at it?
Right here.
Come in. Come closer. Closer. That's right. I'm Vincent Price. You'll be just as safe in this house of fear as any of the other 5 victims murdered by the Bat. In all all of the annals of mystery, there's never been a more elusive, fearsome, and cunning killer. He'll lure you through hidden passages to make you his next victim. But nobody lives forever, so why be afraid of the bat?
How long's he been dead?
Oh, I'd say about a half an hour. You believe it was the bat?
That's a bat's trademark.
Perhaps he's still in the house.
That's possible.
It says here that the bat never leaves no fingerprints.
That's understandable. Having no face, he probably has no fingers either.
The bat is waiting for you.
So, one of my favorite parts of doing this show is talking to you about some of the props you have on the show, because
Yep.
I've always been a prop guy. I like to collect props from
Yeah, me too.
stuff like that. And obviously, you do too.
Yep.
Which one of these days you're going to have to do a video tour of your props, because I would like to see that myself.
Actually, in the upcoming Halloween episode, we kind of do shoot
Yeah.
a lot of these props for a reason. You'll see that as we go on.
Well, there you
Yep.
go. So, speaking of props, what do you got for us tonight that's incorporated into this show?
Well, you know, a lot of people always ask me about Jack and you know, things like that, and a lot of people ask me now about Davy Bones. So I thought I would introduce you to a friend of mine, Davy Bones.
There he is.
So I have him here, right here with me, and Davy Bones is the navigator on my ship.
So
And,
you voice him, correct?
I do indeed. I can't
So
do it
why
as
don't you give
much
us
as
a
I
little
speed up
Davy
the-
Bones?
Well, you know, I would if I was plugged in, but I'm not plugged in right now. But I can't really do it as well as I want, because I speed up the video just a hair to give him a little bit more higher pitch.
I know! All this for a bird, a parrot. Jack, I hope you appreciate what we did today.
Davey, I found online, believe it or not, as a pirate. And I used to have one of these, but he was a skull that danced and sung and things like that. But he had a top hat. He almost looked like a New Year's skeleton. Like he had like a tux and a top hat, no eye patch, none of that. So when I saw him online, I kind of bought him for the pirate purposes of the show and added a couple things, and we go from that. So he's me navigator on the boat, you know. So he does a pretty good job at it.
Hey, who knows? Maybe he'll be popular enough someday to be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I think that's a great. You know what? That's a great idea.
Yeah, you never know.
We should get like T-shirts and stuff made. I think that would be a fantabulous idea.
I figured he
I'm
would
not
like
Davy
that.
Bones himself. I wish I had him working. I should have plugged him in for the show, but he's really cool. He does a lot of great things for us on the show. Gets us where we need to go.
Yeah, very, very cool. So I feel like being on the spot here, because I have some questions from Facebook,
Oh yeah.
some of the viewers. So
You know, it's funny. I remember we take a lot of phone calls on the show, but we always neglect Facebook and the comments we get on there. So we might just take the rest of the show to answer some Facebook questions instead of phone calls this week.
I think that's a great idea, because I have so many here.
Yeah.
And if you want to ask questions, you could either one, call the number below and call in, and if we don't, get to your question, leave a message, leave your question on the voicemail. And two, go on Facebook, find Dead and Buried Treasures page on Facebook, and join that group and message them right there. Send a question in for us because we'll read them. So
yeah, we love to do that. I love talking to viewers and getting feedback from the crowd and the masses, as they say. So these are some of the ones that were selected from Facebook. We get a lot of questions. I wish we could get to them all. I try to answer everybody that writes on the show too. So if we don't get back to you right away, it's because I'm just flooded with mail.
Yeah, we usually put them up on a dartboard, and whichever one hits, that's the one we choose. So
that's right.
All right, so here we go. Here's your first question. This one's
all right.
This one's a good one. I was watching your latest show, Dementia 13. It was the one where you guys were on location at Brownsville Castle. They're asking, was the ghost real?
Oh, yeah, it's actually it's the Nemacolin Castle in Brownsville, Pennsylvania. It's hard to say. We didn't make that up, and we didn't Photoshop anything, and we didn't do any of that kind of stuff. It's just something that someone caught inside the castle on a photograph and didn't even realize it until, well after they were long gone. And when they looked upon closer inspection, you can see, especially when you zoom really tight into that photograph, that there is somebody in that mirror standing as close to the photographer as like right here, like where Davy Bones would be, as when they're taking the picture. And it's creepy because, the have been rumored to have been haunted for years and years and years. It's been around since the 1700s, maybe before that, I think at least the 1700s, and was always rumored to be haunted. And there's all these different types of stories that go on there, and that was just one of them. So it was real. It was genuine.
Yeah, that was a creepy episode, and scared the crap out of me.
It was fun. I was gonna say it was a fun episode too, because I remember us talking about that, and we scared the bejesus out of you.
You did. So the next question: how do you go about selecting the movie?
That's a riot.
Davy Bones. So did you get
right?
How do you select? How do you go about selecting the movies you host?
A lot of horror hosts like to show really bad movies. And I'm sure there's an audience out there for that. I like to show movies that really aren't all business to do so, and I have a solution to that. Maybe here coming up at Halloween, and we'll get more into that later. But I select them on the name of the stars in them, and if it was memorable to me as a child at any point. If it was any good. I like to host ones that really aren't that bad, that had pretty good box office draw, or at least a star that was in it that everybody knew. I don't have a real way of selecting them. I just kind of choose and pick and say, okay, that would be good to use on the show. Or sometimes I do feedback. Somebody wrote to us a few months ago about the 7 Golden Vampires. The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires or something was like another Dracula film, but it was also like a
Kung Fu, wasn't it?
Fu movie. Yeah, like Kung Fu Dracula. Started watching, and then it gets silly. I'm like, well, maybe there is an audience for that, so we will have that on the show at some point. So it's not like I have a science to it, but whatever I feel good at the time. But that also could have a script from the studio segments that complement the movie itself.
So next question. Can we see you at conventions?
Can we see me at conventions?
Yes. Are you planning on attending any?
Yeah, we have plans whenever Steel City Comic Con comes back into play. to go there and have a table and, things like that. For right now, I can tell you this. This Halloween, and I'm going to say in 2020, obviously things are kind of closed down here and there with different events and whatnot, what you can do. But you will be able to see me in a couple of Halloween parades. Bethel Park is having a Halloween parade on Halloween from 12 to 3. And I hopefully will be in the parade riding in a big truck of some type, tossing candy, like those parades go. The Uniontown, the Bethel Park parade, obviously for our BP TV audiences and our PC TV audiences. And then in Fayette County, where we have FC TV on Channel 77, they have the Uniontown parade, but I think that's going to be a virtual parade. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, on Halloween itself, and I'm saying this now because it's not definite, but at the Brownsville Drive-In, one of the few drive-ins still left that's operational. If you want to go to the movies, go to the Brownsville Drive-In for a good time. It's located right across the border into Fayette County. It's a great time for your kids and you. You just go to the movies and have a good time watching a movie. They're thinking of having 2 double features on Friday and Saturday night. That'd be October 30th and 31st into Halloween of Abbott and Costello. Nice. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, paired with Abbott and Costello meet the Mummy, and then Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, paired with Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. And I would be hosting them there. So we're making plans for that now. That's not definite, but we're checking on the availability of the films. So yes, you can see me in person by attending some of those events.
Nice. Speaking of Abbott and Costello, I do have a question here about that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Person writes, can you get some Abbott and Costello movies on the show? I really used to like them when I was younger, and now I never see them anywhere, especially the ones with Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde. So,
yeah, well, there's your answer. The problem with Abbott and Costello movies is I love host Abbott and Costello, especially when they started meeting the monsters, But Universal Studios holds the rights to all of them, all the good ones. Now, there are a couple that are PD domain, and it's Abbott and Costello in Africa Screams, which we're going to be featuring the month after Halloween on our FC TV audiences. And Jack and the Beanstalk, but that's not horror, and I really can't do anything with that movie because it's just not horror. At least Africa Screams, the title kind of gets away with it,
right?
And that's a stretch. They do meet King Kong in that movie,
right?
At least that's what they couldn't use the term King Kong back then because it was copyrighted a few years earlier with Fay Ray, but that's what it implies, that they're there to chase the big gargantua, and they call it gargantuan, which is King Kong. And so that is on the show next month, but we really can't do much more with that because of the Universal owning the rights to them. So as far as the other scary good movies, come to the Brownsville Drive-In if we get that worked out October 30th and 31st. And you can look for ads on our show or on Dead and Buried Treasures.
There you go. So make sure you're following them on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook. That's big. That way that's where you get a lot of your information on that.
Right. There is a question that I've been asked separately, and that's actually been about the Batcave. A lot of people have asked me, if it's true that I actually have a partial Batcave in my basement, a clock entrance, if that's all. And it is. This is only one side of it. This is one side of it where I kind of did a replica with the rock walls and the Bat computers back here, and
it's amazing.
This stuff.
It's amazing, Rich. It's amazing what you've done with that place. It's just blew me out, especially the secret door behind the grandfather clock that we utilize on the show tonight. But I don't want to reveal too much.
Yeah,
I feel like Tom Holland, man. All I'm doing is, and then guess what we do on the Avengers? It's like, I don't want to reveal too much, but if you watch tonight, you'll love it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So they've asked me about that, and this is, like I said, one side of the cave. This side over here that you don't see is all collectibles that I've been collecting since I was a teenager. Comic books, toys, figures, statues, whatever. So to close out the show tonight, I'm going to do something that I have really never done before. I'm going to do like a video montage to close out the show.
Oh, very cool.
The Batcave and this part that nobody's really seen. I mean, you don't see it on tonight's show. You see this part, but you don't see the collectible part. So yeah, to close out the show, that's what we're going to do. So I'll do a little video thing here and give you guys a behind the scenes exclusive look at the actual Batcave that I have here, Man Cave Batcave. And
I can put my glasses on. I don't want to miss this. For the normal people, we're on like right after this. Don't miss our show. Let's get to the Batcave.
That's right. Don't miss it. Stick around. You have the Bat with Vincent Price and Captain Calico Drake versus the Batman coming up.